Yeah, I had the opportunity to work with Mike twice in my career. First, when he was VP of marketing at Netscape, and I was a junior product manager there. And then again, a few years later, when we started LoudCloud, and Mike was one of our first board members and a very early advisor to the company. So, the biggest thing that I think of when I think about Mike is that both at Netscape and at LoudCloud, we went through some difficult situations. In the case of Netscape, it was this incredible competitive battle with Microsoft. At LoudCloud, we were inventing this new area of cloud computing, and Mike always was the person that you wanted to have in your corner when you were in the toughest spots. So there were times at Netscape when we were just getting pounded by Microsoft, we would go in and win a big Fortune 500 account for collaboration software, and Microsoft would come in a week or a month later. They would ask the customer, how much did you spend on Netscape, and the customer would tell them a couple $1 million. Microsoft would write them a check for whatever they'd spent and then replace it with their software. And in the midst of that environment, Mike was just incredible at figuring out how to most effectively position and market Netscape. And really, he reminded me of a boxer who was at his best when he was up against the ropes in the corner, and he'd always figure out a way to come out swinging and deliver a huge win, even against all odds. One, I think if you look around Silicon Valley now at people who are CEOs or some of the best marketers, a lot of them came up and were trained under Mike. He inspired, I think, a whole new generation of leaders. And I think in my experience, entrepreneurship and being in the Valley and high tech, we all read about and think about the huge successes and the home runs and the things that look like they were up and to the right the whole way. But almost every company that I've ever seen or been involved in, it never looks like that when you're on the inside. It's always a succession of trial and error and failing and falling on your face. And the best companies are the ones that figure out how to pick themselves up, dust themselves off when they've hit a roadblock, and just keep on going. And I think that was very much Mike's ethos. And not only did he never tire of that, but I think he took a certain level of satisfaction in that. And so, for me, whenever I've been in a tough spot in any company that I've been part of, I'll ask myself, well, what would Mike Homer do in this situation? And you kind of find strength and motivation in thinking about that. I think that anybody that worked with Mike, he always left a lasting impression. Not only his creativity, his toughness, his ability to pull a rabbit out of the hat. I heard one CEO say, one very successful CEO say that if he ever, this was someone who'd worked with Mike at multiple points in his career, that if he ever was lucky enough to be successful enough where he could buy himself a large yacht, that he would name it the Mike Homer. And I think that's both funny, but it's also indicative of the amount of respect and loyalty and love that just about everybody who worked with or for Mike had for him, despite the fact that he could be just a real hard ass, and if you screwed up, he let you know in no uncertain terms. But that was just part of who he was. One story that really sticks in my mind is back at Netscape, and this was about 1997. We were all in New York, launching what at that time was the next big push for Netscape, which was the move from being known as an internet browser company into a full collaboration and groupware company, which at the time was a very important market. So we had a couple of days of very critical analyst meetings and press briefings, and this was really a big coming out party for the company, and just about everything was on the line at that point, because by that time Microsoft had come out with Internet Explorer 3.0. We were under a lot of competitive pressure, and the whole company really just did an amazing job. It was a huge announcement, got a lot of good success. And so after one of the days of briefings, the whole team went out to dinner together, and we somehow found ourselves in a bar that was largely a lot of cross-dressers and transvestites there, and kind of the whole company, the whole team was having a great time dancing around. And I remember looking over at one point, and Mike was having a good time just like everybody else, but he had a very large and tall transvestite resting on his shoulders, and he was just dancing around, grooving out, having a great time, and it was just another good example of how he could work hard, but go out and have a good time and really celebrate with his team after a pretty critical day.